Hey, hope things are going well at your end. I know that a lot of people losing tractions or interest about the stock market by about 2 weeks. When the market has sell off with all the negative bad news, there are a lot of uncertainty and media start to keep giving bad news about Chinese potential delisting, pressure of yield curve, you know, economic, vaccine, European lockdown, vaccine progress, and COVID cases are increase again. So all these negative news, if you have take a look of previous, month of March, it wasn't looking that great. So, but then if you listen to my video, which I have talked about and predicting the pictures of what's going to happen in March and April, you see that, like I didn't lie to you, the last week of March really started to turn around, especially when Biden started sharing infrastructure plan. Although he does need some tax and some money that somehow to support the plan. So we'll see if this coming week after Easter, you actually will have continued to create momentum, have some earnings and some expectation of good reporting on manufacturing, retail sales, real estate sales potentially, and some other good numbers. So we will enjoy the ride and keep looking at. So remember, I have done a while back about giving people insight about what I bought, and so people can help and follow. I'm just want to give a status update. I'll probably do this maybe every week or every two weeks, but again, people were losing traction or momentum or interest in looking at the market, so it doesn't matter what I said. So I decided to reduce the, I think that right now is the time to talk about it again. So, but then if people who have bought some stuff in previously, probably will be able to benefit from it. But if you don't, then I think right now is not too late. But again, don't put all money in one basket. Do not short sell. Do not do put options, and do not margin. Okay, these are the stuff I don't recommend it, and you can see why that private equity were in trouble because they have too much leverage 10 times, and then the stock value comes and Chinese stock will get really beaten with bad news. So the guy was basically losing what, I don't know, vaporized 30 billion or more. Nobody really know the number and can quantify, but roughly about $30 billion what he got to ask for liquidation. So so I'm not suggesting these. You gotta buy physical stock. I have a video a while back explaining and using the example why buying physical stock better than options. And of course, the traders will continue to tell you if you're traders, professionals, sophisticated, you can continue to do it. But my video more focused on the beginning investor and people who don't have a lot of exposure and experience about stock market. And I always tell you that don't listen to the news and don't trust what they said. You got to do the homework and analyze and think about it. Even what I said, you got to go through your due diligence before making decision. But I do want to show you what I did in specific stock that I had bought in, and so we do it one by one. So the first one is PDD Pinduoduo, which is a Chinese stock. Again, it got pretty badly beaten up from record high in February, $202 down to 130. I think 140 is where it was around when it closed at. So you were pretty much, I bought it, I think 100, from that perspective, right? Big picture, 202 down to 170 to 160 to 150. I mean, they seems to be a pretty good deal, and I have been pretty patient. If you think about it, when you've gone down so much, 140 something, I start to put them in, right? So this to me is a good number. Unfortunately, it's slightly even lower than that. So currently probably have a loss. But at the beginning of March, I did do a Pinduoduo. I think that's a good deal. So this is really good because again, it's only $1,000 on this account. You cannot put much, so you got to do some due diligence, right? So you indicated that if you watch my video, you was pretty bad the 2 weeks of beginning of March, and then the third week really start to say, hey, close to the end, and the market actually go down further around this time with your EV and some of the certain sectors. So the stock actually tell you it was get down to even more beat up, $136. So I decided to say, hey, this is a good time to buy. And really in the March, if the week of March 22nd to pretty much last week of March, it really popular around good. I would say it's a good time to buy. You don't let's say make money yet at this point. If you did buy those at that time, still probably had a loss. But remember, April is where we predicting the market is going to go up, right? So if the momentum happen, you can fairly easily with a gain. I mean, let's just say 202. This sucker go back to 100. $155, you're really good off, right? From these two stocks, you actually have pretty good profit when you combine the average cost 138 to 155. That's 15. That's more than 12% return roughly, right? Then the next one, I bought a Bilibili as well. Bilibili record high was $150 in February. China was the news talking about potential Chinese delisting, and also in reality, this Bilibili, just FYI, they did go to Hong Kong to do a second issuance on IPO, and the reason they were doing that is probably planning for potential delisting of 2022. If they don't meet the requirement of filing, ADR filing, then they are forced to get out of US stock market. So by having the options out there, you're giving people opportunity to do what you need to do around this timeline, okay? So you have to be a little bit sensitive in 2022, beginning of the year, first quarter or second quarter, make sure you see where you're at. You may have the potential actually in US have to sell those US stock. You must here's where the political piece, and international relationship impacted your investment, unfortunately, right? So we do talk about geopolitical risk, which unfortunately wasn't something I necessarily be able to tell you and forecast it correctly. Then the next thing is, so 103, this stock actually have gone down to 95, I think as low as 95, now it's 110. So actually this one make money on this share. Then AI, I actually, really buy quite a bit of AI, which is still at a loss, unfortunately, because $84, I personally at that time in the beginning of March, I thought it was really a good deal because AI was at $160. it was getting really bad, and here with the yield curve going up. Remember that has really big pressure about the Nasdaq and all these stock that don't make any earnings money. They're losing money, burning cash. They call burning cash. So $160 down to $100, good deal. $100 down a little bit. 85, like 15% discount. Why not, right? I mean, you really low, right? Almost 50% discount from the 52-week high. So I did bought some. A 2 share down about a little bit, 83. I think it's gone up. Then the second week, right? This is the first week of March. Then the second week hit, he's still not doing well. AI still down more, 82.50. I think buy more. And then you can see that, unfortunately, in a week of March 22nd, which again still at the sale of positions of Nasdaq and all these small cap stock, it actually went down to $75. In fact, the stock did gone down as low as $65. So I did bust. I in this particular case, I did not buy more AI on this account, but I did buy some more on the other account at 60, not 65, because it's really hard to get that price. I bought around $68, just FYI. So this stock, I am personally feel very optimistic that if April momentum will move up, it should really hit back to $85 where I bought at, which is just beginning of March, which still a lot of people will have lose money if you have bought at $100, still thought the market will go up in a good deal, right? That's 15% discount differences there, just bear it in mind. So I really think $85 wasn't very far off, right? In that logic I'm sharing with you. Then the next one, Flock. This one is again, it was IPO. I mean, if you watch my video, I recommended this stock a while back in the beginning of March. That it was like $60 IPO price. It was as high $19. Around $90 dropped to $50. Man, this is really good deal, right? It's even below IPO price. So I did buy some Flock there, and then unfortunately, again, remember with the directions how things hit on Nasdaq in a small cap. In the second week was actually even lower, right? And then the third week was actually Flock for even lower. They were as low as $44, but it bounced back at the week beginning of April, like last week March, really in a March, and then in the beginning of April, this last few days. So it's kind of turn around. So when you look at the dashboard, you'll be able to see the current prices, but just bear that in mind. So really, I mean, these stock I will be kindly share with you that yes, I bought it at a loss in the moment, because like I said, you can't buy a stock and think you really will make money way away the next day, okay? Then I see LI Lee has some long-term potential. I mean, it was from $32 dropped it to $20 really, and now it's back, $25. I think it's a fair market 25, but this one I bought at 25 really for long run purposes. Bear in mind, this is not for short term gain. It's for long run, this one, because I don't anticipate that this one will move up higher than really $30. So, but if you make $4, right, for 25, that's huge gain, right? That's like 16% return. And then Xpeng, again, this one more for long term too, but this one just FYI as well. They have recently filing the paperwork to Hong Kong Security Exchange that they will have a second issuance of IPO in Hong Kong stock market. But it normally will take 6 months for the paperwork to process through and start to come up with the initial offering price. So between now and 6 months, which will be then September, October timeline, this stock probably will be where I'm at and probably sold the one in previously that I hold a lot. So overall though, Xpeng average price, I did have in the other account about $46 on average. Just FYI, because this stock did gone up at the time, have a really cool momentum between $48 to $55. That's about 12-13%. You can trade around that, but the market, really have sell-off pressure and crash EV stock. So it came down to $23 lowest. Or $25, somewhere around that range, which is a lot lower than that. Now you put it back up a little bit, okay? And then HYLN, this one, another one. This one, the record high last year was $52, lowest $9. It was pretty around the range about $17 for quite some time. So if you think about it, if I have quite a bit of diversifications, I mean, I need to dilute it. If I have some HYLN and overall $25 on average, I would say $10, $11 is a good time to buy to dilute a little further more, okay? And this Excel, again, this is another EV stock. I mean, I think this is really good deal because the IPO price was like, well, they were actually at record low at $8.20. So from a record high of $13, $14, I think. So I bought a few shares in this. Unfortunately, this stock has some momentum issues, actually gone down even much lower. Like now it's even below $8 at the moment, even despite the recent spike of the market on the last 3 days. Okay. So now you get a really good idea, and then I have some other, earlier ones. So that will give you some idea of how my mix look like. So my total balances really is 1,500. I start with buy a little and get more and more and more. So you can see 1430, which is actually $70 less, right? So you actually operate at a loss at the moment. If you do 70 over 1,500, which actually I don't have 15, I think there's still $200 didn't invest, so let's do 1,300 just to be easy accounted for. So right now at a loss about 5.3%, okay? So that just gives you an idea. If you have buy stock, high tech stock, particularly in the early or March and put it in, you didn't dilute, you're probably still losing 10% right now. I would bet you. Take a look at your investment portfolio. But if you bought at the beginning of March, you bought somewhere when the market deep, and assuming it's the same weighted average, you buy same portion of volume just for the simple sake of calculation, you probably will still have a loss at this moment at an average about 5%. But think about 5%, you look around one, look in April, if the momentum continues for a few more days, you will probably easily bring you back to get a 5% gain territory. Because here's the thing, even if index, you have to remember this, even if index give you only 2 or 3% gain, these small cap stock are moving a lot faster and more percentage. When they sell off, I mean, the market show a loss of less than 2 or 3%, they actually have gone down 5 or 10%. So now if they gone up, market gone up, to same thing happen, right? If they gone up 2 or 3%, the stock will gone back 5% to 10%. I mean, easily, one day, just one day. So they could potentially, I mean, out of this list, some could have gone up 20%, and that would mean, what having said that, meaning is you position yourself by March. In April, you will be profit. And I highly recommended you, from those of you who are learning and watching this trend and understand how to learn the market, you will want to sell the stock, particularly if you're not a long-term vision, right? When I say long-term vision, I don't talk about 5 years. That's way, to me, long. I'm not even sure of my life 5 years from now. So I'm talking about probably 2 years, okay? 2 years down the line, you will have to hold at least year and a half or more, which means 18 months or more. That's my view. So then if you look at long term, you're living alone, then you don't worry about it, even if you hit 15 or 20% return. But if you're a really short-sighted person, well, I would recommend you, you get to 15%, you will start to think about selling them, okay? Because you don't want to miss it again and then hit, get yourself in trouble again. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of investors now have a bunch of stock that have been actually have a loss or write out all the gains already. We're buying some new one to mix it together. So then with this mixed one and this average it out, you got to be selectively, smartly to elect how you can sell your share. You can't expect the market to be as hot and as bullish as what you had last year. That's definitely, I'm not saying it won't happen, but chances are if you're buying less that stock, which are high tech, small cap, and even Chinese stock, international stock with some geopolitical risk, they may not be able to do so. Okay, just bear that in mind. So if you are going to have a Dow stock, if you have retail stock and the stock I mentioned to you, and the restaurant stock, which we open and therefore will give them a plus and help, these are different story, okay? So I overall, like I told you, still have 5% loss, but it's really varies with different stocks. So AI, like bought it at a cost, and this I'm losing 14% right now, because remember I told you I bought some share at $85, and now it's only $69, okay? But I am optimistic that this one will hit it back to $80 if the market bullish, or 85, because I mean this definitely is a beat up from $160. I mean you gone down to $68. That's mean you want to wipe out 60% of the up from the high, right? Which is to me very significant. Barely, this one actually is a gain, 8%. Just give you an idea that if you have bought at 103 is kind of a low end, or $95 really lowest point in the month of March, or one day really gone back 95, you will have over 10% return already. So this one, if you hit back to 100, but 150 was the high. So let's say 100 and 150 divided by 2, simple, your midpoint is 125. So if you hit $125 midpoint, you bought it, even if you bought a level 110, let's say, you have 10% return, then probably good to go, you know what I mean? I don't see this go back to $150, right? So you think about 125 is a good point to really think about walk from this stock. Flop, this one is crazy. I mean, I don't understand this one, because it was from, so high and dropping it down. I am optimistic about this stock will go back to at least $60 again. So then I'll have a little profit, because right now you can see it's a loss of 10%. Even I bought it about, $50, right? I still lose money. HILN, obviously, you bought at 1080. I believe this is kind of bottom for HILN. Because if you will look at the trend and the statistic of HILN, the recent lowest was really at 9 something, which is at the 52-week low was at $9, and 52-week high was $52. $52, for the most part, they was hitting around $20. Well, if you're $20, now you're 11. You're beating up a 50%, another 50% discount of that already, right? This one actually have to wait for earnings coming up. And see how they progress. There's not much news and momentum going on. So if they have some hydrogen and thinking about Biden plan will be benefiting from HIL benefiting from that, I would say you probably will push it back up $15 reasonably. So that means it will give me 40% return. So this one is an exception. I will not sell at $11. I mean $12. I will sell it at $13. I will sell it at $15 at least when the market pick it back up and look good. LI, this one, I just bought it recently. Nothing happens. Flat. Well, this one I'll probably sell it at 30, definitely 30, but maybe 28, 50. I mean, that's still give me a really good return from this perspective on what I had on this account. The other account bought it at, like before the crash. So you were actually, I was surprised, it was around 28.50. Just to give you some idea, that was around February when I bought it at. So, February when the market was a little crashed a little bit. So Lee was around over $30. So just give you an idea. And Pinduoduo, again, I was highly recommend this stock at the beginning of the year. You was with the Amazon learning, Amazon modeling, selling fresh vegetables, and trying to expand this market space with $100 billion potential market. So I still optimistic about this because when $134 is already trade way lower from the 150 wave, which is the last year November time, and then at the time of January it got picked up again to $170, and then shock it all the way to $200. So I really think this stock at least will move it back to $170, which is where you was before the bullish part also get kicked off. But you have to be a little bit patient about this stock. But normally the fourth quarter earnings is really amazing for Pinduoduo because they have the celebrations of the double November, and then they have December sales of Christmas. So Chinese New Year already passed, so they will announce the first quarter earnings. So the time you need to think about it. My friend told me this stock price will look good after July. So, and then XL, this one, like I said, I don't know what's going on. There's not much bad news. There's not much bad news about this one, but just kept beating up. I thought I got a good deal about $8 something, and I lost about 11% right now, as you can see. But I think if the EV stock momentum continues to push, this stock probably will put it back to $10. So I'll probably sell it around $9, so that I actually make 50 cents. It's not too bad. And XPEV, I still thinking my average, like I said, $48. It was really bullish at the time. It was around $48 to $55 range. So I hope this stock will, with the first quarter of 2021, be very, very well established. They didn't announce they have a chips problem like NIO or Tesla. So this stock I will have really optimistic about, thinking it will keep going up for another $10 is possible. So I'm looking this stock will be $47, by end of April, hopefully. So you still probably, if you think about it, it does happen, $10 over $33, 30% return, right? So this stock part. So I'm happy to share with you on this weekly, give you a snapshot and continue progress in April. By the end of April, if my prediction is correct about what this account can happen, it will have about 15% well, because this one I didn't buy a lot, see, really little. But the AI is really heavily weighted with Pinduoduo, so maybe you will average around 10% return instead of a loss of now 5%. So that means overall 15% positive on average for this portfolio by end of April, or maybe even the April 23rd. I'm thinking that's the target today. So hope you enjoyed the video. I give you some guidance of the prices of stock that historically you can pull in and look at the trend and determine, and explain you the rationale why I bought it in March in the beginning, why I buy more at the third week of March or last week of March. Because some of these stock this account don't have money, so I didn't buy much. But in the other account, actually I did buy a lot of AI as well, and some other high tech stock, and HYLM particularly. I think I bought at $11. I bought quite a bit to dilute the average price of $20. Have a nice and wonderful week. Hope everybody will be happy again with the stock market and make money. Thank you very much.